Japan, the land of the rising sun, often called the land of the rising sun, is a nation that fascinates the world with its balance of tradition and modernity. Today it is known for futuristic cities, technological innovations, centuries-old temples, and breathtaking natural beauty. Millions of tourists visit each year, eager to experience a country where bullet trains rush past thousand-year-old shrines, and neon-lit skyscrapers stand beside serene gardens. But what many don't realize is that Japan's openness to the outside world is relatively new. For more than 2 centuries, between the 17th and 19th centuries, the country's borders were almost completely closed to outsiders. This policy of isolation, called sakoku, shaped Japanese society in profound ways. Ironically, it also gave rise to some of the cultural treasures and traditions that continue to define Japan today. So, how did Japan transition from a long period of isolation into one of the most open, advanced, and influential nations on Earth? Let's travel through time and explore the extraordinary history of Japan. Early beginnings. Ancient Japan. The islands of Japan have been inhabited for at least 40,000 years. The earliest settlers likely came from mainland Asia, crossing land bridges that once connected Japan to Korea and Siberia. These prehistoric people lived as hunters and gatherers, but over thousands of years they developed skills in pottery, agriculture, and metalworking. By the Jōmon period 14,000 to 300 BCE, Japan's people were already creating some of the oldest known pottery in the world. Later, during the Yayoi period 300 BCE to 300 CE, rice cultivation was introduced, probably from Korea and China. This agricultural revolution transformed society, leading to permanent villages and the beginnings of social hierarchy. By the 3rd century CE, the Yamato clan in central Japan rose to power. The Yamato rulers claimed descent from the sun goddess Amaterasu, establishing the idea of a divine emperor, a belief that would shape Japan's political and spiritual identity for centuries. Chinese influence and the imperial court. Japan's early state was heavily influenced by China and Korea. Buddhism arrived from Korea in 552 CE, forever altering Japanese culture. Alongside Buddhism came Chinese writing, political philosophy, and architecture. In 645, the Taika reforms were introduced, reorganizing Japan's government to mirror the Chinese imperial system. This strengthened the emperor's power and centralized the state. In 794, Emperor Kamo moved the capital to Heian-kyō, modern-day Kyoto, beginning the Heian period 79–1185. This was a golden age of courtly culture. Aristocrats developed refined customs, literature flourished, and art thrived. Works like The Tale of Genji, written by Lady Murasaki Shikibu, are still considered masterpieces of world literature.
Rise of the samurai and the shogunate. By the 12th century, 2 powerful clans, the Taira and the Minamoto, were locked in a struggle for supremacy. Their conflict, known as the Genpei War 1180–1185, ended with victory for the Minamoto. In 1192, Minamoto no Yoritomo was granted the title of shogun, or commander-in-chief. Though the emperor still reigned in Kyoto, real power now rested with the shogun in Kamakura. This began the era of the shogunate, a military government that would rule Japan for nearly 700 years. Samurai warriors became the backbone of Japanese society. Bound by the code of Bushido loyalty, honor, and martial skill, they shaped Japan's values and traditions. Mongol invasions and the divine wind. In the 13th century, Japan faced its greatest external threat, the Mongol Empire. Kublai Khan demanded Japan's submission, but when ignored, he launched 2 invasions in 1274 and 1281. Both times, samurai fought bravely, but the real savior was nature. Powerful typhoons, later called kamikaze or divine winds, destroyed the Mongol fleets. These storms became legendary, reinforcing the belief that Japan was divinely protected. Yet the wars drained Japan's treasury, leaving many samurai unpaid and dissatisfied. This unrest weakened the Kamakura shogunate, leading to internal conflicts, civil war, and the age of warring states. In 1333, Emperor Go-Daigo briefly restored imperial rule, but within years, a new shogunate under the Ashikaga clan took over. Still, real power shifted to local lords called daimyo. The Onin War 1-6-7, 1-7-7 plunged the country into chaos. The central government collapsed and Japan entered the Sengoku period, the age of warring states. Rival daimyo battled endlessly, building castles, hiring ninja spies, and employing warrior monks. A turning point came in 1543, when Portuguese traders arrived bringing firearms and Christianity. Muskets revolutionized warfare, giving ambitious daimyo like Oda Nobunaga an advantage. Unification of Japan. Oda Nobunaga began unifying Japan in the late 1500s using guns and brilliant tactics. After his assassination in 1582, his general Toyotomi Hideyoshi completed the unification. Though born a peasant, Hideyoshi rose to power and ruled as regent. Hideyoshi even attempted to expand abroad, launching invasions of Korea in the 1590s, but these campaigns failed. After his death, his young son's supporters were defeated by Tokugawa Ieyasu at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. Tokugawa established a new shogunate based in Edo, modern Tokyo, beginning the Edo period 1603 to 1868. The Edo period and isolation. Under the Tokugawa shoguns, Japan enjoyed over 250 years of peace. Society was strictly controlled, samurai served as administrators, farmers provided food, artisans crafted goods, and merchants traded. To prevent unrest, Christianity was banned, and in 1639, the policy of Sakoku closed country was enforced. Foreign trade was limited to a few Dutch and Chinese merchants confined to Nagasaki. Isolation allowed Japanese culture to flourish. Kabuki theater, haiku poetry, woodblock prints ukiyo-e, and tea ceremonies thrived. Cities grew, literacy spread, and the economy expanded. But by the 1800s, famines, corruption, and Western pressure revealed cracks in the system. The arrival of the West and the Meiji Restoration. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States arrived with steam-powered warships, demanding Japan open its ports. Facing superior technology, the shogunate signed unequal treaties. This humiliation sparked anger. In 1868, reformist samurai overthrew the shogunate in the Meiji Restoration. Power was restored to the emperor, and Japan began a dramatic transformation. The Meiji government modernized rapidly, building railways, telegraphs, factories, and schools. Western advisors were hired, a modern army was created, and the samurai class was abolished. Empire and expansion. By the late 19th century, Japan sought to join the ranks of world powers. Victories in the First Sino-Japanese War 1894 to 1895 and the Russo-Japanese War 1904-1905 stunned the world. For the first time, an Asian power had defeated European forces. Japan annexed Taiwan, Korea, and other territories, establishing itself as a rising empire. But this expansion came at a cost, creating tensions with the West and fueling militarism, World War II, and defeat. In the 1930s, nationalist and militarist leaders pushed Japan to conquer more of Asia, leading to war with China in 1937 and eventually World War II. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, drawing the United States into the conflict. At first, Japan achieved rapid victories, seizing vast territories across the Pacific. But by 1945, it was on the defensive. When atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan surrendered, ending the war. The devastation was immense, with cities in ruins and millions dead. The U.S. occupation under General Douglas MacArthur transformed Japan into a democratic nation. The emperor renounced its divine status, and a new constitution guaranteed peace and human rights. Post-war miracle and modern Japan. From the ashes of war, Japan rose again. By focusing on technology, manufacturing, and education, it achieved rapid economic growth. Automobiles, electronics, and consumer goods turned Japan into an economic powerhouse. By the 1960s, Japan was the second largest economy in the world. Culturally, Japan blended tradition and modernity. Anime, sushi, Zen gardens, and martial arts spread worldwide, while skyscrapers, bullet trains, and robotics showcased its innovation. Today, Japan stands as a global leader in technology, culture, and diplomacy. It ranks among the top nations for life expectancy, education, and quality of life, all while preserving its unique traditions. Conclusion: the story of Japan is one of resilience and transformation. From isolation to empire, from devastation to rebirth, Japan's journey has been remarkable. It is a nation that honors its past while embracing the future true land of the rising sun.